There's a reason why the rich keep getting richer, and it's not because we work harder, it's not because we're smarter, it's not because of any other reason than we play the game of life better than you play it. In fact, we're not just playing it better than you play it, but playing it with a completely different set of rules. And on today's video, I'm going to break those rules down and show you how you can use these rules to get incredibly wealthy. First, it's important to understand that the system was built for producers. It wasn't built for consumers. So if you're a person that consumes consistently, you're always looking for your next thing to consume, thing to watch, thing to buy. You're always looking to consume. You're not looking to produce your own IP, your own content, your own ideas. You're not producing anything. You're only consuming for others. And so you get in this cycle where you work to consume and distract yourself from getting extremely wealthy. This is the cycle that will keep and does keep most people poor. And you see, when you go to school, most schools will teach you how to work to consume. That is in everything that you consume in school. Work to consume. Grow up, get a job, get your 9 to 5, and chill. On the weekends, yes, now you can have your time. I mean, imagine the thought that someone can tell me when I can have free time that's not normal. That's not a normal thing. So you mean you can tell me when I can have some free time? No. How about I have free time whenever I say, because I'm a producer. I'm not a consumer. I can produce and make my own money. I can be self-reliant on myself and no one else because I choose to produce rather than to consume. And you see, when you start to understand these principles, it becomes very easy for you to go and make money and make a lot of it and make yourself incredibly wealthy. And listen, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're not in a situation where you have complete control over your time, your finances, or your life. And all three of those are because you don't know the system. You don't know how to make money. If you want a different result, you have to play a different game. You have to play by different rules. And these are the rules that I'm going to show you today. Now, over the course of this video, I'm going to go over just 7 principles that I've used to make myself well over $1 million in profit before the age of 25, travel the world, take care of my family, and live life as I see fit. Starting with law number 1, and that is money is a game and not a goal. A lot of people set these goals for themselves, like I want to make 250K, I want to make 500K, I want to make $1 million, I want to make 2 million, I want to make 10 million, I want to make 15 million. You set all these goals, but what is the process and who do you have to become in order to get to that goal? People focus so much on the vanity number of the 10 mil and the 5 mil and the 3 mil and so on and so forth, whatever the number is, that they forget about the process that it actually takes to get there. So what will happen is you'll get excited about the end goal and not become the person that can actually make that kind of money. And it feels good to you to say, yeah, man, I'm gonna make 500, I'm gonna make $1 million, I'm gonna make 2 million, I'm gonna make all this money. But then within that, you forget about the person you need to be and the discipline and the habits you need to have. And so you need to play the game. Don't worry about setting the goal, because even once you get to the numbers that you've set, it never feels as good as you thought it would. Never. And I know this because I used to say, man, once I get to $1 million liquid, that's gonna feel so good. And then I did, and then I didn't feel anything. And then I said, once I get to 2 million liquid, it'll feel good. And then I did, and then didn't feel anything. And so I realized, you know what? It doesn't even matter. The money doesn't matter. The money is a byproduct of my process, a byproduct of my journey, a byproduct of making myself the best version of myself that I can be, a byproduct of being the best producer I can be, a byproduct of serving value, of giving the most value to clients, anyone that I serve, anyone that I help within my businesses. Making a lot of money is just a byproduct of doing the right thing over and over and over again and having systems and processes built around those things. So don't make money your goal. If you make money your goal, once you get the money, it's not going to feel nearly as good as if you just focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Not nearly as good. Now, this leads me to law number 2, which is respect money and do not worship money. You see, I have a great deal of respect for money, so I manage my expenses properly, I manage my finances properly, I take care of my finances, I rule my empire with my iron fist. But you must not worship money. Money is not the end-all be-all. If you only worship money, then you become baseless. You need to be very good at earning money, very good at keeping money, very good at investing money. That is respecting it. When you start to worship it, you almost put it on a pedestal. You see, when you pedestalize money, and this is what most people do, most people pedestalize money to the point where they can't have any. And so it becomes this thing, well, we shouldn't talk about money. We shouldn't talk about money. If you go to most people's family are like this. You go to the dinner table and no one wants to talk about money. No one wants to talk about how much they made or a nice deal that they did or anything like that. Because most people don't have any money. Why? Because they pedestalize it. They make it seem like it's too far out of reach. You see, I've never done that in my life. I mean, you have to make 10 or 15 or 20 million if that's what you want out of your life. You have to make that feel like very reachable. That's very reachable. Why couldn't I? Someone else has done it. Why can't I? And this is the same thing for me. When I started my land flipping business, there are very few people that I had heard of doing multiple six-figure profit deals. Very few. But I said, well, why can't I do that? And I've made a couple $1,000,000 on six-figure profit deals. And so this is what you have to understand. You pedestalize the money, it's going to be way harder for you to attain the money. Have a respectful relationship with money, and that is in just managing your finances and being a good steward of it and understanding how to produce money consistently. Now, this leads me to principle 3, which is master the levers of money. Once you start to acquire a lot of money, it is really important to understand your income versus your expenses versus your assets versus your liabilities. So I need to know how much money I'm making, how much money I'm spending, and what is the difference between an asset and a liability. When on the road to your first $2 million liquid, you should do nothing but build your income, and build your assets. So assets can be multiple things. Assets can be digital, assets can be your knowledge, assets can be physical assets that cash flow, but you want to have way more assets than you have liabilities. Don't go out of your way to go and buy that car. Don't go out of your way to go and buy that watch. Don't do it. Acquire more knowledge. When you make your first $20,000 or $30,000, you have this means to want to go and increase your expenses. You know, a lot of people will make money and then because of their ego, they'll go increase their expenses and go spend it when really, like, you know, gosh, if you got 100 grand in cash, 200 grand in cash, you don't really have much money yet. So you want to focus on acquiring more knowledge. You want to focus on learning as much as you can, building your skills, building your process, so that way you can be in the multiple 7 and 8 figures. That's what you want. You see, most people get that first hit of money. This is what I talked about in worshiping it before. The reason why you spend your money so much and you're in this cycle of self-sabotage is because you don't know how to manage and mitigate your income versus your expenses and your assets versus your liabilities. Now, people can also be assets and liabilities. So you want to have people around you that are also on that journey and also going to help you. A liability is someone that's not trying to add value to what you're doing. Someone that's trying to take away what you're doing. Someone that's trying to nitpick and compete with you in a way that is not serving you to get to your goal. If you do any of those things, if you're around any of those people, cut those people off. People can also be assets and liabilities. Now, for me, I own several hundred acres. I own assets that cash flow. I own this YouTube channel. I own my personal brand. These are all assets. The more assets you create, the more money you will always make. And this is exactly why when I teach clients at Landverse, I tell them to build a land flipping brand. You don't just want to send out mail blindly in hopes that things will come back. You want to build a brand. You want a seller to open your letter and recognize your brand, who you are, how you help, and who you serve. That's how we build assets. When you think of yourself as an asset, when you think of everything you're building as an asset as opposed to a liability, your cash flow is only going to accrue. Money has a very particular language, and what I've learned on my journey is that it's not about consumption. Media will have you thinking that money is all about buying that new Ferrari, buying that new Porsche, buying that new house. And yes, you can use money for that, but that's not all it is. Money is fuel to have freedom of choice. And that is the language of money. It's also all about value. So I want you to understand that all the money you could ever want right now is in someone else's pocket. You have to deliver the value so that the money in their pocket can transfer to your pocket. It's all about value. It is a value exchange. You cannot give me one single transaction that happens on the planet that does not include some sort of value. So what you need to do is figure out how you can quickly deliver value to people and how that cycle of value can turn over as fast as possible. That's why I started a land flipping business, because I can quickly deliver you cash. I can quickly deliver you 50 to 70 to $500,000, whatever the price is. I can quickly deliver that, pay your closing costs, and be closed within a couple weeks, as opposed to you listing a property on the market and it takes you 200 or so days to sell because you don't know how to sell property. So this is all about value. So when you become fluent in the language of delivering value, money will always be easy to make. Someone has your money right now. Someone has your 2 million, your 1 million, your 500,000, whatever it is. Someone has it. You just need to figure out how to consistently deliver the value as fast as possible. Deliver it as fast as possible. This is what I focus on. Money is also all about speed. It's all about speed. In the time that I make this video, over $1 billion around the world will be transacted. And that's what you have to understand about money. It's always moving. So there's not a lack of money. And see, people think that there's a lack of money because you don't have any and because you pedestalize money. And because you're not doing the simple things of just delivering value to those that are in need and identifying problems and identifying the value that you can provide to those problems. You do that consistently. That's how you make money. That is the language of money. And then even furthermore, use the money that you acquire to learn more. I spend multiple 6 figures a year on my education. This year, I'll probably spend anywhere from $350,000 to $400,000 on just my education. Learning from mentors, learning from coaches, learning from consultants, going to masterminds. Easily, $350,000 to $400,000. It's allocated in my budget. I use my money to make more money by learning more skills. This is what money is for. Money is not for you to be flexing Big Willie Bobo style all over the place. It's not for that. Because here's the other thing. I've always seen that the people that did that, it never lasted. Most of the people that I've seen and studied and watched that flashed their lifestyle and were so concerned about the perception of themselves instead of actually building real wealth, most of those people are not around anymore. Most people don't have it because they stopped understanding the language of money. This is a language. These are rules that you have to respect. And if you don't respect them, the game will wipe you out. Which leads me to the point that money goes where it's respected. You have to respect money. I've seen so many people disrespect money and spend it in a way that is truthfully ignorant. Instead of investing, you consume. Instead of building wealth, you want to impress. Don't worry about what everyone else thinks about you and how much money you have. It doesn't matter, especially on your journey as you go on, as you build your processes and skills. I do not care if you think I'm broke or rich. Don't care. Why? Because I know exactly what I'm doing and I know exactly how I'm building wealth and I know what I've done. I don't have anything to prove. And so you're going to get yourself out of a lot of trouble when you just think like that. Okay, listen, money goes where it's going to be respected. So if you respect money, if you're not spending more than you make, if you invest smartly, if you study the game, you're always going to make more money. Always. If you spend frivolously, consistently, if you do all these lavish things that you can't really afford, if you buy that new car that you know you can't really afford, if your expenses outweigh your income, you're always going to be broke. And this is the thing. People will say, well, no, it's not that. I got to make more money. Well, there have been several people on the planet that have made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and blown it all. Why? Because their expenses far outweigh the income. And see, the other thing is too, when you start to make a lot of money, I would say past being able to spend, for me, past being able to spend about $80K a month, my life changed. So once I got to that point where I was like, I could comfortably spend about $80K a month. But with that comes a lot of ego. And so your ego is tied into this as well. You have to be able to tame the ego and say, well, no, what am I building here? Does it make sense for me to do that even though I can? Well, no. I need to take this and invest it. I need to take this, put it away. Take this and grow it. Take this and use it to be able to comfortably spend $8 million a month. These are things that most people don't talk about, most people don't think about, which is why most entrepreneurs, most athletes, most actors, most entertainers end up going broke. Even after having all this knowledge, because your ego gets into it and you start to think that you are invincible. You start to think that you're a god. And so you stop following the principles that got you to the dance in the first place, which leads me to identity shaping your income, which is principle 6. Now, most people will never get past a certain financial threshold just because of how they see themselves or how they think the world sees them. You see, the world around you only sees you how you see yourself. Everything that you think people feel about you is an internalization that you've already felt about yourself first. And I know that that's a big problem with people in general. So you might think, oh, I can't make the 250, I can't make the 500K, I'm struggling financially. Well, listen, if you continue to tell yourself that you're struggling financially, what do you think you're gonna do? What do you think you're gonna continue to do? Struggle financially, because you keep telling yourself that you're struggling financially. This is one of the biggest problems that I see in our society today. A lack of confidence, a lack of belief in oneself, a lack of positive self-talk. It's all negative self-talk. It's all, it's taboo. I don't want to talk about making a lot of money. Oh, I shouldn't. Why? We need to have more confidence in what we say we're going to do and go and do it. The problem is we're like, the society is almost raised to be low confidence. Society is almost raised like that. And you need to be more confident in yourself and your identity to get to wherever it is that you want to go. Because if you have the identity of someone that is highly wealthy and highly successful, then the world around you, the things that you do will start to take shape around that. If you have the identity of someone that's poor and broke and can't get past a certain financial threshold, well, then that's all you're ever going to know. There's two things, and you can choose, you can decide. And you might say, well, easier said than done. Well, no, it's not. You need to literally sit here, tell yourself, I can make this. I have done this. I am capable of doing this. And then what will happen is your brain will start to put the building blocks in place for you to go and make it happen. Before I made $1 million in profit, over $1 million in profit, I used to tell myself that I can become a millionaire. I used to tell myself that I can travel the world. I used to tell myself that I can have trips planned for the next year. First class, business class flights. I used to tell myself all this stuff. I used to tell myself that I can live in a neighborhood surrounded by multi-million dollar houses and live in a multi-million dollar house myself. I used to tell myself all these things. And my brain did everything in its power to make sure that I did that. Now, if I told myself that, I'm not a good leader, if I told myself that no one will listen to me, if I told myself that, it's difficult for me to make more than 20K a month, if I told myself all these things, that will become my reality. So you see, the very way that you see yourself, the very way that you talk to yourself, the very way that you think about yourself is the very way that your world will take form around you, which is exactly what will reflect in your bank account. So I want you to take out your phone right now, look at your bank account, whatever it says, look at it. Imagine what you want it to look like compared to what it looks like right now. Take that feeling, use it, and figure out exactly what you need to do to bring value to the marketplace to make sure that your bank account reflects the number that you want it to reflect. And you don't let anything stop you. This is the identity of a person that will never take no for an answer. This is the identity of a person that will make it happen no matter what. This is the identity of a person that becomes and stays extremely wealthy for the remainder of their life. Now, lastly, you have to get comfortable with having more money than other people. You have to get comfortable with having uncomfortable conversations. You have to get comfortable with being almost scoffed at because of the amount of money that you make. And this has been me. There have been people that I've known for a long time, and it's even crazy. Like in my own life, I've recently started to, over the last year, I've started to post about the deals that I'm doing, the money that I make, the success that I've had, and the change in tune that I've had from people that, revered me, loved me, right? They knew I was doing well, they knew I was making money, but then you see the deal, and you see me here, you see me there, you see me here, you see all these things happening, right? You see me rising. And then the jealousy will always creep in. And you see anyone that you have around you like that, as you rise, you have to be very careful, pay very close attention to that kind of person, because that kind of person is the person that will pull you right back down in the barrel. So any person that is, jealous of you and makes certain sly remarks and comments, you got to cut them out for good. They can never come back. And you need to be very comfortable with this. You have to be comfortable with having more than others. You have to be comfortable with making more money than others. And you don't need to brag or boast about it. It's obvious. And you can always tell in the way that people treat you. Now, the caveat to that is, when I go into a restaurant that I've been in several times and leave big tips, do they seat me at the best table? Yes. When I go places that I like to go, do they pull the red carpet out for me? Absolutely, because they know that Femi's gonna tip when he comes in here. So it's a catch-22. I would rather go into the restaurant and get the free desserts and get the free drinks and all I'd rather do that because I tip and I take care of people than, care about a few people that really could be in the same situation that I'm in, but just refuse to do the work and are too lazy to do it and don't believe in themselves and pedestalize money to the point where they think that they can't have any. So the other thing too is that people put their limiting beliefs on yours as well, to the point where they're trying to tell you, well, you shouldn't do that. You should just get a job, be safe, because that's all they would do. Don't listen to that. Because listen, if someone else has done it, if I've done it, listen, 6-7 years ago, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know anything about making a lot of money. I just knew that I wanted to. I didn't know. But if I can do it, you can do it too. So don't let anyone out there try and tell you that you can't make something happen just because of their insecurities. It's the biggest mistake that you'll ever make in your life. So get extremely comfortable with, you know what? Yes, I am a king. I am a queen. I am a ruler of my empire. And if you don't like it, well, truth be told, fuck you. And that's what you have to tell people. That's the mentality that you need to have. Because if you don't have that mentality, what's going to happen is every time that you try to crawl out of that barrel, every time that you try to elevate, every time you try to better yourself, you will always get pulled down by the people that are do-nothings, by the people that are lazy, by the people that would never watch a video like this, by the people who scoff at personal growth, who scoff at building a business, but work for someone else for an hourly wage. And have to actually tell someone, I'm going on vacation to this place. Can I please have a week off? Can I please have 2 weeks off? You actually have to, like the concept of you have to go and tell someone, hey man, I need vacation time. Hey man, can I have a raise? You have to tell someone that? You shouldn't be in that position if you're watching this video. Listen, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. Obviously for me, could never do it. Have to control my own finance. The other caveat to that as well is if you're building something that you're passionate about building. See, most people are not passionate about working in a 9-to-5 job. Most people are not. Like, there are people that I employ and I pay them very well who love building our vision and dream. And if that's you, if you wake up fueled by that every morning, then that's okay. But if you wake up and you're like, man, I gotta go to this job again, I gotta do this again, I don't have any freedom, well then that's a problem. You need to fix it. So the question is, well listen, I understand all these principles, but how do I apply them to my life? How do I use them to get rich? How do I use them to make my first million, my first 5 million, my first 10 million, so on and so forth? How do I do it? Well, you need a system to apply these rules to, and that system is land flipping. And over the course of the rest of the video, I'm gonna show you exactly how we use these principles in the land flipping business to make several $100,000, if not $1 million a year or more in profit. So if you wanna get wealthy, you need a vehicle that has leverage, arbitrage, asset stacking, and scalability. And building a land flipping business is really the highest level of arbitrage that you could ever have, because I've done deals where I bought a deal for $40,000 and sold it for $160,000, made 120 grand in just 60 days. I've done deals where I've bought for 50K, sold for 150K, made 100 grand in just 60 days. And all these HUDs are on my page, by the way. I've done deals where I've bought a deal for 250K, sold for 350K within 24 hours, made $100,000. These kinds of deals are life-changing. And if you continuously have this high level of arbitrage and you're consistently adding value to the marketplace, selling properties on a consistent basis, well, then you're going to make yourself incredibly wealthy, incredibly fast, like I did, and like many of my other clients have as well. Just today, I was in my Discord group and one of my clients has a deal that he's closing within 21 days, just listed it last week, that he'll make $25,000 on. You see, you apply these principles to a business model that's high cash flowing like this, you build yourself to anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 plus per month, and you invest your money wisely, and that's the key to wealth. That's literally it. Land flipping has such low competition because most people are not flipping land the way we are. There's probably a few 100 million parcels of land all across the country, and there's less than 10,000 land flippers. And out of those 10,000, there's probably like, maybe like 300 or 400 that are considered good. And so out of all of that, you've now entered into a niche and space that is very simple. And all you have to do is understand systems, understand processes, repeat them over and over again, delegate those out, and chill. I spend about 2 or 3 hours a week on my business, and that's it. And we're still able to do anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000 a week, depending on the week. If you're watching this video, land flipping is really the best kept secret in the real estate niche right now. I hear very little people talking about this, but as I stand here today, I've made over $1 million in profit with my land flipping business, and I've helped many of my clients produce multiple six-figure profit results. So if you're interested in using these principles to build a wildly profitable land flipping business in 2025, book a strategy call with me below. I'd be happy to help you. I'll see you on the next video.